So you're wanting the Colorado lifestyle, but without the price tags of Denver or Colorado Springs. Today, we are going to talk about Fountain, Colorado. It's an amazing city, but as with any other city, it has a ton of pros and a ton of cons. So we're going to cover all of that for you today in detail. So be sure to stick around.
As you guys know, my name is Crystal, this is Sean, and we are your local real estate agents, your guide if you are relocating here to Colorado Springs. So, lovely Fountain.
Or not so lovely Fountain.
It depends on what perspective you have. Fountain is probably one of the number one little pockets cities that we get asked about. And honestly, there are several reasons why I think it's super popular. But the biggest, because we are your real estate agents, so the biggest thing that comes to us is the affordability with Fountain. And when we kind of compare Fountain versus Colorado Springs or Denver, I mean, we really don't compare it to Denver because if you're going to live in Fountain, you're not going to want to live in Denver. But that's kind of like the big attractive thing about it is because you can get a little bit larger of a home, a little bit bigger of a lot, and the price point is very, very attractive.
Yeah, I would say that the large population of people that reach out to us about Fountain specifically is going to be our military community, and even more specific than that, Go Army. That's going to be our Army people at Fort Carson. And Fountain is a huge landing destination for the military community, as well as civilians as well. But to Crystal's point, the price points in Fountain compared to Colorado Springs are going to be pretty substantially different. If you look at the charts here that will pop up on the screen for you, Colorado Springs consistently this year is selling anywhere between $500,000 and $600,000 versus if you look at Fountain as a whole, and this is specifically for single family homes, so we're not taking into consideration townhomes or anything like that, you're going to see that they are selling between $400,000 and $500,000. And to Crystal's point, you get a little bit more house, you get a little bit more lot, which if that's something that you're looking for, whether you're military or civilian, Fountain might be a great landing point for you.
Well, and I think too, it does have a little bit of everything there. You can get townhomes, you can get condos, you can get single family homes, you can get ranch, you can get two-story, you can get bi-level and tri-levels are probably going to be really, really big in that area. But then also they're still doing new builds in that area as well. And you can even get land. Like, I mean, there's property that you have land too. So
you're going out there a ways for those properties.
You are, but it is possible. And I think that when it comes to affordability, that's what makes it so attractive, which is a huge, huge pro.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily on our list of topics for pros or cons today, but just speaking to you as a Colorado Springs native who actually went to school in Fountain. I spent a large portion of my life in Fountain. My grandma lived in Fountain. I was at her house like every day. Fountain has grown substantially since when I was a kid, call that 10 years ago, right? So you can live in Fountain and not feel super isolated anymore. There used to just be like this one little shopping center, but now you have multiple grocery stores, you have multiple fast food places, you have some restaurants. It's definitely nowhere near the Colorado Springs lifestyle, but you can live similar to us. We live in Peyton, Colorado. It's like a little silo city outside of Colorado Springs, and you can feel comfortable doing your day-to-day activities without having to travel into Colorado Springs. So if housing price point, lot sizes, location, or proximity to military installations is important to you, again, this might be a huge pro of living in Fountain, Colorado.
Well, and I think you just kind of touched on something too, kind of a con. And this is a thing. This is what I love and hate about pros and cons. You guys love them, which we appreciate you guys watching us because we don't really think that we're that entertaining, but clearly you guys do.
Boom.
A pro or a con could be looked at in so many different ways, but a con that I would say is that there's not a ton of stuff there. You know, it is growing, which is amazing. But like, if you want something fancy, not going to get it in Fountain. You want a nice steak dinner? Probably not going to get it in Fountain. You want to go to like a piano bar or go and have like happy hour? not going to get it in Fountain. I mean, you can get happy hour at like their local bar, but
The one local bar. There's several, but there's like the one known. It's called Ricky's.
Yeah.
That's like the one spot where everybody knows.
right. So it's the diversity of kind of like what you can get between like entertainment, food, shopping. It's not super, super big there. It is growing, but you kind of feel like you're outside, which once again could be good and bad. But if you want to go to like a nice date night, you're going into downtown, pretty much.
So kind of what we touched on a little bit as well, the Fountain, Fort Carson, the military, the Army, is this a good spot for you? This could be, again, a pro or a con depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for proximity to Fort Carson, this is a huge pro.
Yep.
If when you get off of work and you go home, you do not want to be surrounded by your fellow soldiers, Fountain might not be the best fit for you. And we see this one, it's kind of 50-50. Some people want the proximity, so they choose Fountain. Some people prefer to do the travel from Colorado Springs to Fountain because of, one, Colorado Springs just being what it is as a city. But two, when they get off of work, we hear it a ton, and we've even spoken about, especially when I was in the fitness industry, the last thing that I wanted to do when I clocked out is go do my own personal workout and somebody come and interrupt me and say, hey dude, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? Or whatever. It's just like not what you want to do. And I'm sure it relates to any field.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to talk about work when you're off of work for the most part. Obviously there's like little sidebar conversations that I'm sure you don't mind having, but we have seen it. It's kind of 50-50. Some people want the location proximity and some people want to be as far away from their job site as they possibly can. So again, it just really depends on which side of the coin you fall on.
Huge pro to that is you are in a community where everybody understands your language.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody understands your sacrifices, what you go through. And on top of that, especially with our military clientele, you guys are moving every 2 to 3 years. So your circle is constantly like in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so you do get a sense of a whole different community. And I honestly, I do believe that like in Fountain, your peeps know what you go through. And also if your husband or wife is deployed, you have a community.
Right.
And so like that is something that I think is a huge, huge pro, because you're surrounded by nothing but love and support. And that's a huge pro. Con to that, is, like Sean said, is like if you don't want to be surrounded by that, then probably won't want to live there, because your neighbors, I can almost guarantee you, the neighbor to the right, the neighbor to the left, and the neighbor in front of you is more than likely going to be military as well.
Also, if you've ever lived in Fountain or near Fountain, you've probably heard some training exercises. So again, if you want to clock out when you go home and you don't want to hear the training exercises, for those of you who are not familiar, they do live fires, they do helicopter training, they do all kinds of things out on Fort Carson. And it is very likely that you are going to hear a lot of these training scenarios, sometimes during the day, sometimes at night. So again, if you are wanting to get away from that as much as possible, Fountain might not be the best fit for you. Well,
and you guys, we are military heavy, which that is honestly one of the things that I absolutely love about Colorado Springs is we love our military, but it's pretty freaking crazy when they are practicing stuff. And you guys, Fort Carson is not tiny. I was
massive.
I was very naive. I was very, very naive before I kind of met Sean, and Sean is prior service. And then we used to do a ton of events on Fort Carson. I just had this assumption that it was just like, a few little pockets of areas. It's humongous. So when they practice stuff, when they're doing drills, when they're doing all of this stuff, it's loud. It's crazy. It sounds like,
like guns.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Guns are going off like left and right, and you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And it's like, Fort Carson's doing training.
Yep.
So you do have to be prepared for it. And there was one time when we were showing one of our military clients, and I jumped because it was super, super loud, and I jumped, and he was just like completely like, yeah, that's normal. And he wasn't from here. He was just moving into here. And I was like, does that bother you? And he was like, that's my everyday life. And so it really It's one of those things to where it's like, if you don't know about it, it will 100% scare the crap out of you.
You'll get used to it.
You do get used to it.
It's just like another potential con, the train tracks that go through Fountain. If you want to avoid some of these things but still have the conveniences of Fountain, reach out to us, 719-238-1771. We help clients move here from out of state, sight unseen, all the time. But there are certain things like the live training, the train tracks is another big one. Like you could be very close to the train tracks and be super annoyed that you're there. Again, from most clients that we've helped, you get used to it over a certain period of time. But if you want to totally avoid those little pockets where you can hear this stuff, reach out to us directly. We're happy to kind of like show you the lay of the land, whether it's Fountain, Colorado Springs, surrounding cities. We got your back when it comes to that. Live training exercise. I was literally so far into Fort Carson one time. We were basically in Pueblo. I could see Pueblo from like where we were training. But that leads me to my next pro, which is the proximity to Pueblo, which Pueblo doesn't have a lot to offer, but they do have the reservoir. And if you are a camper...
And they have green chili.
Actually, green chili at the liquor store that is closest to Pueblo Reservoir was some of the best green chili she's ever had. I don't eat it, so I wouldn't know. They have green chili. It was at a liquor store. But if you like camping, if you like boating, if you like tubing, if you like anything to do with camping or a lake, Pueblo Reservoir is super close for Fountain, and it's one of our favorite spots that we get to do in the summertime. I wish that we would go more frequently, but you know, life's just super busy. We're helping too many of you guys move to Colorado Springs, so.
I think that like proximity to Pueblo is probably like a big perk for you guys. Now, with that said though, proximity to anything else is you're like 35, 45 minutes away. And so if your life is not down south, so if you're not military, or let's say a lot of people come in here and want a certain school district, you're not going to get District 20 in Pine Creek living in Fountain. You do have to kind of understand it's a whole different world, but everything is honestly within 35 minutes. I was telling someone the other day, because they were like, well, we really don't want to drive more than a few miles. And I'm like, well, how many minutes is important to you? Because our mileage and the minutes is going to be kind of like completely different to what some people are used to. You're used to LA traffic where you're sitting in it for, 2 hours to go up the block. Very different than here. But if you want like Northside living, which is going to be a little bit more upscale, you're going to have more bougie restaurants and bigger things like that. And just a variety and like a little bit more not updated, but like newer. That one's probably not going to be a good thing for you. And then that commute is just going to be a pain in the butt, because if your life is not in Fountain, it's going to be a drive no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, and when we talk a lot about like the different like backup spots in Colorado Springs and other areas, and we haven't really talked too much about them in Fountain. You're gonna have two ways to really get out of Fountain for the most part. I-25 is gonna be a big one, and Highway 24 is gonna be a second big one. Two potential negatives. One, I-25 in Fountain is so close to Fort Carson that in the morning and in the evening, that does get backed up. It also gets backed up by this really stinky part of the water. So if you smell something crazy that smells like a sewer, you're probably close to I-25 in Fountain. So the traffic backup there does get congested for sure. Highway 24 is currently expanding, like on the south side where Fountain is. They're making it much wider. I think that this is a very proactive approach though. It's not super congested now, but because of how much Fountain is growing, it's just gonna help in the next 3 to 5 years to come. And honestly, with the traffic cones and everything, I drive it probably every other day and it's still never like, it's not backed up, but it is a construction
it's just annoying
pattern. And it is super annoying, like, construction's happening everywhere. So those are two things to be aware of. With that being said, I-25, it's your major route north and south in Colorado Springs, to whether you're going to Colorado Springs or to Pueblo. Super convenient, very easy road to take. We did do a video on I-25. I think I was going from North End to Fountain. You can watch that video. I think I got from Briargate to Fountain in like 25, maybe 30 minutes. So to her point, you can get pretty much anywhere in Fountain in 30, 35 minutes. And then 24 is a great route too, just depending on where you're going.
And if you guys want more, because obviously we don't want to take up your whole entire day with our videos. We just want a little bit of your time.
I want all of your time.
But if you guys want more detailed information about it, drop a comment below and say Fountain. We'll send you guys our Fountain guide that will kind of give you a little bit more ins and outs and the details of it. And if you guys are interested in purchasing in Fountain, give us a call. Like, reach out to us. We can go more in depth of kind of like what your needs are, because we help a ton of you guys coming here.
Well, and to piggyback that, another huge pro of Fountain, and to her point, the reason that we help so many people is because the average price of a home is cheaper than Colorado Springs. So it is a great entry level if you're wanting the Colorado lifestyle, but Colorado Springs and Denver are just, like I said, they're too expensive. Fountain is a great option because you can still get a great sized single family home for a somewhat more affordable price point. Obviously 10 years ago, Colorado Springs, Fountain, everywhere was, in my opinion, super affordable. Nationally, we were super affordable. Colorado Springs has climbed the ranks over the last few years in terms of not being super affordable, but Fountain is really, and I can speak to this, one, because I went to school in Fountain, two, because I live in Peyton now, which is a suburb, like a outside city of Colorado Springs. It's really not that far. And if you're looking for the Colorado lifestyle, but you don't want the Colorado Springs price, Fountain is going to be a great option for you. The housing is a lot more affordable, and you're just not, in my opinion, 35 minutes is not a big sacrifice to have the conveniences of Colorado Springs.
Yeah, totally agree. So as you guys can see, we love Fountain. And honestly, I think that there is way more pros. There's very, very few cons. But like we said, every situation is kind of different. We had a client that actually loved living by a railroad tracks because it was very soothing for them. I could not do that, you guys. But so every situation is completely different. If you're looking for, affordability, if you are PCSing here and your duty station is Fort Carson, Fountain's going to be a great area for you. And we want to be able to help you with all of that. So if you guys have questions, want more detailed information, I'm Crystal. This is Sean. We are your local real estate agents, and we are here to help guide you on your next move. Yeah. So if you have any other questions, DM us, call us.
We say DM all the time. They can't DM us on YouTube.
True.
Fun fact.
True. Well,
but still, DM us anyways. 719-238-1771. We'll call that a DM.
Hey, however you're reading this or watching this, just get a hold of us.
Yep.
So until next time, you guys, have a wonderful week.